350 buckets of cement, each weighing 20 tons, are lifted into the main dam wall every 24 hours. The proportions used in mixing the cement have to be decided on scientifically, as local climatic conditions affect the drying rate. Get it wrong and disaster threatens. It takes 5 minutes to swing each giant bucket across the void to the top of the dam. Once there, it will be tipped into a preformed casing where it hardens into a block. One small piece of the dam falls into place. On this site, women as well as men are employed in some of the most skilled jobs, including crane operating. These are amongst the tallest cranes in the world. One crane is as high as the Victoria Falls in Africa. Operators have to take an elevator and then climb 400 feet just to get to work every day. As the operator swings the vast bucket of concrete, engineers below indicate the exact spot where it should be poured.
Can you tell me something about yourself?
Yes, my name is Fang Zhihui. I'm just over 40 years old.
How long have you been doing this job?
I started operating a crane in 1978. Since September last year, we've been operating right up here at this height. It's much higher than before, but it honestly doesn't scare me too much, the extra height. To tell you the truth, once you get used to heights, the extra weight doesn't count. It's all the same to me. Just a moment. I have to give it my full attention. It's really complicated up here. There are other cranes around, and you have to be very careful to avoid collisions.
Like most of her co-workers, Feng Caihui and her family are committed to living amid the noise and dirt of the construction site for the next 10 years. Alongside the dam site, a city of the future is being built to house the people who will maintain the dam when it's finished. There will be great cause for celebration if the dam is a success. The dam truly is taking shape in the heart of China. Immediately above the dam lie the three gorges that have given the dam its name. The three little gorges on one of the Yangtze's tributaries, the Danning River, were formed by movement of the Earth's crust some 40 million years ago. The Danning flows into the Yangtze, but while the water of the tributaries remains sweet and clear, the main Yangtze is one of the most polluted waterways on the planet. Coal is used to create 75% of China's energy. China is the world's largest producer and consumer of coal. Carbon emissions are damaging the environment. The Three Gorges area of the Yangtze, from Chongqing in the west to Wuhan in the east, is the heart of industrial China. Factories in the area generate a high level of acid rain that covers an area the size of Japan. China's leading cause of death is heart disease, helped by the burning of coal from steel smelters and rolling mills. Many such factories are on the banks of the river Yangtze. Dam director Liu hopes that clean power generated by the hydroelectric plant at the dam will help to reduce this terrible toll.
Because of the reservoir that will be created behind the dam, the Yangtze will contain a lot more water, so providing for the generation of 18.2 million kilowatts of electricity.
It will be the largest power plant in the world, capable of supplying all the power needed by a city 4 times the size of Los Angeles. This vast hole will be the site of one of the power stations. Solid granite had to be blasted to make way for its foundations. By the time the dam is complete, over 78 million cubic yards of rock will have been shifted in this mammoth drill and blast operation. It is hoped that selling the power generated by the dam will both fuel China's boom and help the dam pay for itself. The way power is generated by a dam is explained by Daniel Beard.
Hydropower is electric power generated using the energy of falling water. There's only one law that you need to generate power, and that's the law of gravity. As long as we don't repeal gravity, water's going to flow downhill, and as it flows downhill, we capture it, divert it through a tunnel, and run it through a turbine, and as the turbine spins, it creates electricity. It can be an inexpensive way of generating power if you look just at the cost of the turbine, but it also is expensive when you look at the impact that a dam may have on the community or the environment.
Every year, the Yangtze carries not just people, but also millions of tons of cargo. But soon, a 610-foot wall will block the river. How will all the shipping traffic cross the dam? The answer is not revolutionary in concept, but it is in scale. Here, the foundations of a ship elevator are being constructed. The elevator will be a vast steel box driven by a mechanism strong enough to lift the box with a 3,000-ton ship inside. The box will contain 13 feet of water, enough to keep a ship balanced. The whole mechanism will raise a ship the height of the dam in just 42 minutes. The elevator in the center of the picture will be very fast, but it will be very expensive to use and only smaller ships will fit in. So most of the river's traffic will use the second mechanism, one of the world's largest system of locks. The 5-level lock will enable 10,000-ton barges to cross the 610-foot barrier of the dam. That's like moving the Titanic over the Statue of Liberty in just 3 hours. The reservoir behind the dam will be much deeper than the river is now. This will mean that ocean-going vessels will be able to carry goods directly between San Francisco and Chongqing, which is 1,500 miles from the sea. An acceleration in the pace of the regeneration of central China will follow. It's estimated that the volume of shipping here will increase 5-fold, and that will mean a lot more money in a lot more pockets. Chongqing is already a sprawling area of 30 million people. That's equal to the entire population of California. When the dam is finished, it looks set to become a new Hong Kong, a city where business is everything. Although Chongqing is 370 miles upstream from the dam site, much of the old city will disappear to make way for a new, deeper port for the vast ships that will dock here. These mahjong players would be 50 feet underwater. In this wartime capital of China, everywhere the old is being replaced by the new. Within 10 years, very little of the original Chongqing will remain. This man, Mr. Zhang Jiyan, must leave his family home for an apartment in the modern city. His home will be demolished tomorrow, so he paints a picture to help him remember. But as some parts of the city are cut away, the rest of the boomtown continues to grow. Such is the pace of change in Chongqing that people say if you turn your back even for a minute, a new building will already have risen when you look around. But can this building boom prevent a human tragedy of gigantic proportions? When the Three Gorges Dam is completed, the water level will rise behind it to over 500 feet, creating a reservoir nearly 400 miles long where once there were thriving river communities. The biggest worry for all those involved is not the technical challenge, but the fate of the million or so people who live along the shores of the Yangtze between the dam and Chongqing. All these communities along the riverbanks will have to be moved.
The biggest problem is resettlement of people who live in the reservoir area. With the Three Gorges Dam, we can protect the people in the lower reaches, some 15 million people. But it will cause problems for the people in the upper reaches, which will be submerged. Currently, that is about 840,000 people. By the time the dam is completed, by natural increase, this will have become 1.13 million.
But experts disagree about the number of people who will have to be resettled. Daniel Beard, once President Clinton's advisor on dams, thinks that figure has been seriously underestimated.
I asked the Chinese when I was there, I said, what's the largest number of people you've ever moved for a dam project in your history? And they said 250,000 people in the 1960s. And my assumption was that at that time they were done at the end of a bayonet. Well, now you have a much different country, you have a much different China, and you're going to move 2 million people?
Crossing time zones, climates and languages to explore.
The water will start to rise once the river is blocked off in the year 2004, and the reservoir will be full in the year 2009. 4,000 villages, 140 towns, 13 cities, and 100,000 acres of farmland will be inundated. The reservoir will be longer than the Grand Canyon. This is 2,000-year-old Fangdu, 250 miles upstream from the dam. It's known as the City of Ghosts because its temples are dedicated to the gods of the underworld. The town will vanish below the new reservoir's waterline. All that will remain will be the ghost temple at the top of the hill. When the 65,000 inhabitants have been evacuated, Fangdu must be destroyed to prevent submerged buildings becoming a hazard to shipping.